Good afternoon, folks. Today I am going to make strawberry rhubarb pie. And I am going to, first of all, go outside and get the rhubarb, clean it up. I do have strawberries in the fridge that I purchased. And once I've got rhubarb and all that cleaned, put those in the fridge, make the crust. And you may wonder why I'm tying up a scarf because I'm going to get rhubarb, but truth be told, I always like to have my hair tied up because when I'm baking or cooking or something like that, I don't want to have it fall. So you'll always see me in the kitchen with a scarf or a hat or something on. So I will be back very shortly once I go and pick the rhubarb, clean it up, get the strawberries cleaned, set those aside, make the crust, and I do use a tender flake lard recipe that is on the back. It's my no-fail recipe, so if you just follow the instructions on the back, good old tender flake, it always works. So with that, we'll get started and I'll be right back. And here is my freshly pulled rhubarb strawberries that I picked up at the store. And once I have those all cleaned up, I'll put them in a bowl and we'll get to making some pies. I've already made some jam. This is about the third harvest of my rhubarb. Now some people peel their rhubarb here, but I occasionally will peel it off if and when it happens to do that. But I don't sit there and I don't peel the rhubarb. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the skins. Sometimes you get lucky and it all comes off, but sometimes it doesn't. So that's how I peel rhubarb. Well, we got all this rhubarb cleaned up now. I'll figure out what to do with the rest of the harvest at a later time, and now we'll work on cleaning the strawberries. And here's another use for your lettuce spinner, your salad spinner. I take mine and I put my strawberries in there and turn on the cold water, clean them all off, get all the little seedlings and little dirts and stuff like that that comes out. You'd be surprised what's on the strawberries that you really don't see. So once all that's done, I'll give them a spin and then we'll cut them up. Now the tender flake recipe that's on the back of the tender flake lard makes enough for 3 pies, but we are not going to make 3 pies today. I'm going to make the complete recipe. I am going to plan on freezing some of the pastry, or I may make something else, at a later date. So we'll see how things work out. Once that is all decided in the future, we'll figure out what we're going to do. But I encourage you to use tender flake pastry recipe on the back of the tender flake. It is a no-fail option. I have never had it fail on me. So with that, we'll start mixing up. I've got my 5½ cups of flour. Well, not just 5, because I usually like to use a little less flour than it calls for, and then I have the option of putting it in after if it gets too it's not feeling right. You'll tell when it's done. That is the first step. Get the flour, cut the lard, add the salt. Takes a bit of salt, not a whole lot, just some of that, and then your 1 egg mixed with your tablespoon of vinegar. Add cold water to bring it up to 1 cup, and pour that in after into your cut lard. So it look like oatmeal. So we do that until it gets into an oatmeal like. Well, the crust is coming along. I'm going to add the liquid stuff yet. But over here I have fixed up the rhubarb. So there's my 2 cups of rhubarb, 2 cups of strawberries, and zest of 1 lemon, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, a teaspoon of cinnamon, and half a teaspoon of anise seed. This will set a little bit. Oh, by the way, and a 1/3 cup of sugar. This is what's going to go into the filling. So the rationale for the cornstarch is to get it a little thick, and it'll start the thickening process before. The egg brush that I'll use on the top of the crust, the balance of that will also go in there, and that will thicken it because, as you know, strawberries and rhubarb do create a lot of liquid. So we'll get back to that. We're back here. Now we have the 1 egg and tablespoon or so of white vinegar. It says a tablespoon, but that's probably about a tablespoon. And we top that up with water to equal 1 cup. Cold water. Mix all of that up. With a fork and add it to our already mixed up, the tender flake, the flour, and the salt are in there, and we will mix it all up, and we'll start the process of rolling the crust. Some people are intimidated by making pie crust, and they think it is there is some tricks, like you shouldn't play with it too much, and those kinds of things that, people are always saying, it falls apart. But I find that using the tender flake recipe without keeping it too hot in your kitchen. Speaking of hot, I better preheat my oven for the pie. I'm going to preheat it to 425, and then we'll turn it down later on. So we'll start the rolling process here. I also like to have a very well floured base in order to do the pies, so I use lots of it. Get the trusty rolling pin going here and roll that out. My pastry feels a little bit moist, but that's okay because it should be. We're gonna pack it together here, and the trick is not to play with it too much, so we'll roll it out. That looks like it's big enough for my pie plate. We'll put it on. About half. And flip it over. Oops, I didn't quite push it to, so that's okay. We'll make it a little bigger. I didn't realize this was such a deep pie plate. which may mean it may be a little thinner, but that's okay. Now we will put in a little bit more on this side here. We'll just put that over there. And in pops our fruit. But prior to that, I'm going to get the other crust ready. As you can see, when I say I like a well-floured base, I like a well-floured base because of the fact I don't really like to put as much flour in the bowl as it says. 5.5 cups of pastry flour, 6 cups of all-purpose flour. I use 5 cups, and then I end up with more flour on as I'm rolling it. It also makes it a lot easier to handle and doesn't really ever stick. This hopefully will be a very tasty pie. Now we're going to fill it with the fruit. As you can see there, it's fairly glazy. And I probably have more than enough for one pie here. However, we can always do another one. But we'll make sure it's well filled. And I'm going to beat an egg in order to put around and baste the crust. And then I'm going to pour the rest of the egg in here. It just helps it thicken because we've got that cornstarch. A lot of people will use cooking tapioca for thickener. I just never bother buying it. Cornstarch works fine for me. And so that's how we'll do it besides. If you got something you've already got in your house, go ahead, use it. If not, then it's really not necessary. So we're going to cut this and get a little closer here. The pie is done. And then we're going to cut the pastry up. And in order, I just make little slits here. Nothing fancy, just keeping it relatively simple. And we're going to baste the egg on the outside of the crust to hold them together. So I need another egg. Maybe I better use I could use this. Putting an egg wash onto your crust also holds it together very nicely. Makes it golden brown. So it kind of serves two purposes here. One is to hold these together. Stand that up here because I want to pour the rest of the egg in here. This will ensure that the berries do get a nice, very gelatin look about them. I'm not going to flute it, I'm going to pack it with a fork. And we're going to use this I'm going to sprinkle a little sugar on there, only because I can. And then we are going to cut the rest of the crust off. Put that back in there for the tarts, and God only knows what else we can make with that. But here you go, you have one strawberry rhubarb pie, all ready just in time to go into the oven, which just stings. So we're going to bake that at 425 for about 20 minutes, and then we're going to turn it down to 350. Be back when it's out of the oven. You recall that I said I would put the oven on for 375 or 425 on for 20 minutes. So what I'm going to do now, the 20 minutes are up and it's ringing, so I'm going to put it down to 375 just for the remainder of the cooking time, which is approximately another 30 minutes. So that gives the pie a total of 50 minutes cooking. And I did add a couple of little ones in there that you can probably see, so hopefully they'll all cook great. And I'll see you when I take them out. Well, after 50 minutes of baking, it looks like our pies are ready to come out of the oven. So we shall see what the damage is. Hopefully, no, it's beginning to smell really good in here. Oh yeah. Doesn't that look scrumptious? These ones could be a little bit longer. They weren't in there the full 50 minutes. So we'll see. And there it is. One strawberry rhubarb pie, completely done, baked for 50 minutes. It's going to be yummy. Here's my taste tester for the rhubarb strawberry pie. Bit of ice cream.
Very nice. It's a little bit tarty too, the way it should be. Tasty.
That's good. I put less than 1/3 cup of sugar in that whole 2 cups of strawberries and 2 cups of. So
Nice mix.
Absolutely.
can you taste the seasoning?
There's lots of seasonings.
Yeah, good.
So I'll be sure.
That's what I wanted. So I got a little bit of lemon zest and a little bit of thyme and a little bit of cinnamon.
And look, thank you so much for coming.
Nice.
Glad you like it.
If you liked this video, please click like to let me know that there is an interest in this topic. Click subscribe to view videos about fishing, UTV adventures, cooking, my boat renovation. Many topics are coming soon.